on Instagram, Twitter, Ellen, whatever show, movie, all throughout the 2000s and even to this day. And this man has gone viral so many times and entered your living room, entered your device, entered everything to bring you positivity, love, encouragement, all through the art form of hip hop, street dance, choreography, and just pure love at the end of the day. I had the privilege of meeting this man in person about a little, almost 10 years ago, here in Millennium Dance Complex in Philadelphia when it was open. And Mr. Will Adams, also known as Willdabeast, is going to be here to tell us a little bit more about his story, the truth that he's gone through, the things that he's been through, the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows. Now, listen, everybody, if you have, loved everything that we've done up to this point, especially last week's show, and if you haven't seen last week's show, make sure you guys go ahead and check it out with Dr. Irvin Fryer. You guys don't want to miss what is about to go down. All right. Mr. Willdabeast has been, blessing us with the moves, kid from Indiana, going to LA, across the country, across the world, right? Giving us hit after hit after hit. And I'm here to have a conversation with him to see what exactly happened with him. How did he get into the dance game? What happened in his professional career and how Christ has entered into his life to this point right now. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're ready. I hope you're ready. I hope you got a notepad. I hope you got a pen. We're not in the dance studio today, but we're going to dance a little bit. All right. We're going to dance a little bit. We're going to get busy and give y'all some good word. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Will Adams, Willdabeast, to the Unshakable Nation podcast. Let's go. Will, what's going on, big boy?
What is good, man? How are you, brother?
Brother, I'm good. It's good to see you. It's good to see you. You know what I'm saying? Happy all is well and everything with you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for having me, man. That was an amazing introduction. I appreciate that, brother.
Hey man, listen. I'm just happy that you came onto the show. I've been looking forward to this for quite some time. We linked up, a little over a month ago and said, yo, we got to make this happen, man. I've been enjoying everything that you've been doing online, the process of what you've been going through and how you've been, kind of like reinventing yourself in another way has been truly, truly amazing. But before we get into all of that, right. Yeah. Let's go back, a little bit to the beginning, right? Who is Will Adams, right? Who do you want the people to know? Who is Will Adams?
Man, you know what? I am a creative / ADHD driven, energy filled human who has always had an eye for the unattainable. I've always had these dreams to create what I wish existed, to collaborate with people. And, being a kid that was a military brat, moving from Virginia to Florida to Indiana, I had dreams of getting out of Indiana and making my way to LA to, pursue my dreams. And God has been so good to me. Was able to create a lot of things that I had goals to do. And with that being said, that's like the surface. That's the creator. But and aside from that, man, I've had a heart always to just bring people together and create positivity and create collaboration and create community.
Yeah. So take me back real quick. What was your introduction into the dance world? Like, if to my knowledge, you were playing football prior to that, and
that's right.
Right. And
yes,
then,
sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah, to be honest, man, it was like one of those things. My dad would always put me in talent shows in Florida, or, in middle school, high school, would do like, the talent shows, or, if we're at a party, the homies would be like, yo, dance, Will. Like, it's a known thing. Like, okay, he can dance, he can get down, whatever. Right. But I always loved football first. I was a sports guy. I don't know about you, but I was a sports guy. That was like Emmitt Smith, Barry Sanders. That was like gold. That's who I wanted to be. But obviously, life and realization is like, okay, that might not be in my cards. So after high school and a little bit of college, I was like, man, what do I really want to do? I feel like I'm not living my purpose. And 2009, I was like, with different circumstances, things that were happening in the world, I'm like, man, it's time to go. And even though I had danced a little bit, done some studio stuff, done some auditions, done things like that, I hadn't really pursued it as a professional career, something long-term, longevity-wise. And 2009, I just decided to pack up, leave, man. It was time. I was like, college is great, but I know that this is not my only, purpose, and I can always go back to school. And I just packed up and moved, man. Packed up, took a chance, moved to LA.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what do you say? What do you say to the person that just wants to pack up and go? I mean, clearly you had some form of a plan,
Right.
and you hear this all the time. Some people just be like, "All right, yeah, I'm gonna go for this dream," and then it doesn't really pan out the way that they expect.
100%. I say, man, you know, there's two sides to it. I feel like have a plan A and don't make a plan B. That's like a theory that I do believe in, because I'm like, you got to go all the way in. But also nowadays, man, like having a fallback plan, I think is great. Having education, you know, whatever there is that you might want to do outside of like that number one goal, whether that's entertainment, sports, whatever your passion is. I think that you have to attack that in a way of like, I am going to make it. I'm going to be okay if I don't have money for a while. If I get told that maybe, you know, I no's from these jobs, or I don't make this team, or whatever the case is, like you have to have that. I am going to be determined and I'm willing to go through the trenches to attain it. But I say more than that, decide what you can live with. Decide like, man, am I okay sitting at a desk job? That might be okay for some people. That is like awesome for a lot of people in the world, the way things function, businesses that run, that all, you know, help us all in society. But if that isn't you, for me as a creator, it was like, that is not enough for me. And so I want to live and I want to create a life for myself that is not something I feel like I need to take a break from. It's not something that I feel like every day I'm going to work, so to speak, you know? So for me, it was like, there's no other option. And if you have a passion for something, man, you get one chance at this life. Overall, that's what I'm going to say. You get one chance, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. You're saying like decide what you're comfortable doing, right? Like if you're good where you're at, then all right, cool. But if you're not, then you got to take that next step and go to that next level, man. And I run into people all the time where it's always like, you know, those questions come up where they start questioning themselves. Am I doing the right thing? Am I supposed to be here? You know, because things could be, you know, going real shifty, real shaky, you know, for them. And they may not be seeing the fruit of what it is that they've been looking for. Or check this out, bro. They're looking for it too quickly, right? And they're not patient enough with the process of how things actually work, right? Absolutely. So how do we, you know, in your process, okay? So you 2009, say I'm packing up, I'm moving to LA, I'm going to do my thing. What was the process of how you got to where you're at? Because then you start to explode on the internet and all these great things start to happen. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I say it happened for me before I was ready. And when I say that, you know, spiritually speaking now, you know, God doesn't really move according to your plan. For me, I was auditioning. I was like getting little small taste of fame. And when I say fame as a dancer, you're like, oh, I'm in a music video, or success, or I just did an award show. But then you go back to the trenches. You go back to applying for jobs, auditioning right after that job is done. So I was getting these little bits of success, but it wasn't attained and it wasn't stable, you know? So I say probably about 2 years after I moved to LA, had an amazing artist, T-Pain, take me around the world, and then started getting like little jobs with Usher and a music video with Jason Derulo, all these little things that were like, okay, I can do this. I am deserving. People do see me. I kept trying to teach class, and eventually after trying for a long time at Debbie Reynolds and IDA and Millennium, I had some awesome people vouch for me. One person being Calvin Hodge, another person being Kenya Clay, and they vouched for me, and that allowed me to start getting into these studios. And once I started teaching classes, it was hard. Nobody really showed up, but after a while, viral content just started happening, and it seemed like every video I made just started doing like at least 50,000 views in the first week. And had a lot of amazing people come to those classes. And I was just unapologetically myself. I felt like there wasn't a space for me yet in that lane. Like there were amazing choreographers, African-American choreographers that came before me, men and women. But in the YouTube space, there was nobody consistently putting out content from classes, you know, not just routines or concept videos, but classes. And at the time I was like, man, Johnny Erasmi, he's killing it. and then Tie-Dye's videos were going viral, all of his battles, all these things, but there wasn't somebody teaching class in that space like I saw kind of in the Asian community or in other communities that had these viral class moments. And I was like, man, there's space for me. There's space for us there. And I just, yeah, man, I brought what God naturally gave me, what our culture is. I brought that to class videos. And that's what kind of took the dance world put them on notice for what I was creating.
Yeah. So you mentioned Kenya. That's my homegirl, Kenya Clay. Shout out to her. Like people vouching for you, right? Let's talk about this for a second.
Yeah.
How important relationships are in the world, period. Right. We oftentimes, I tell people this, right? Check this out, bro. I oftentimes tell people that your relationships is the key to your ultimate success. Not about how dope you are, not about how talented you are, but if I had to pick 3 things that will make you successful, character, relationships, and faith.
That's a good 3. That's a good 3. Like, I would add to that. I would add to that, not only make you successful, but keep you there.
Keep you there, right? Keep you there, because you know what, like oftentimes we get there, but then there's another level, right? There's another level, but what's going to keep you on that level? So like talk to us about how important like the relationships that you've been able to develop, you know, really helped you in your career.
Absolutely, man. Like I think it's super, super important. Something that I've learned now, not then. I didn't know this then, 2009 to 14 to 15 to 16, as this growth was happening, as building brands and building intensives and clothing companies and dance companies. Something I didn't know then, but mentors need mentors. Sometimes pastors need pastors, you know, leaders need leaders. And I feel like I got so isolated because people saw me as this thing and this figure that it was like, oh, Will's good. He created this, or, oh, they got this, or he just bought this car, or he just created this event. And for me, I didn't have relationships around me personally that were always in my best interest, but also that were redefining me, that were iron sharpens iron. I didn't have that. And also you become a little arrogant and you become, this is on my own strength and look what I'm doing. And man, my talent starts to happen to you, even if you don't necessarily maybe want it to, if you don't have a great foundation. And I didn't have a great foundation for myself. Spiritually, I felt like, oh man, I'm a man of God. I prayed, I went to church. I knew how to ask for things, but what God has shifted in the past 3 years of my life, it's not even comparable. It's not comparable to anything I've ever known, really walking with him, all of those things. So for me, yeah, man, like I had people I looked up to. I had people that I collabed with or worked with or built businesses with, but I didn't have people, I say per se, that were the kind of relationships that I needed to become the best version of Will and to grow the most. Wow. Yeah. So what you're saying is absolutely correct. And I will say I did have people look out for me. One of them being Steven Twitch Boss. Like that was somebody I could always call on and get advice from or anything, you know, anything from, any advice, any suggestions, even if he saw me a little out of pocket online, anything. Like that was one person that I could be like, okay, I know this person will give me game and give me truth. No matter how it feels, even if it's a little uncomfortable for me. Like, yeah, man. But some of the opportunities I had, workshops I was able to create, collaborations that I did, a lot of them came from relationships with people that saw value in me, that believed in me. And those things are super, super important, man. I will always give credit to anybody that lifted a hand in anything that I did. I think it's important no matter what happens with your personal relationships or the industry. If people look out for you, there's things that you need to remember. And I always will for anyone that had a hand in my career.
Absolutely. That's so dope, bro. That's so dope. So like I've oftentimes have looked at, you know, relationships and opportunities and things like that on a much grander scale. And you mentioned being arrogant and things in that nature. And it's so funny because Matt and I, before the podcast, bro, we were talking, actually me and my wife and I had brought this to Matt, but me and my wife, we were studying scripture earlier, which is Luke chapter 19, verse number 20, right? So this is like another version of the parable of the talents.
Gotcha.
And what's so crazy is that in Luke, it's different from Matthew, how Matthew breaks it down, but in Luke, it breaks it down even further. And you see the arrogance of, the third guy that got the blessing and didn't bring back, money and everything to the master. You see the arrogance in him saying, like, why, like, I know you're a hard man to please, especially if, you're asking for the harvest that you didn't reap, basically telling the master, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. I'm doing this on my own turn. Like I'm doing. And then the master then begins to say, you wicked servant, right? You wicked servant. Like basically, how dare you? So even if I was a hard man to please, why didn't you put the money in the bank so that it can grow interest? If I was, right?
Right.
And then it's like, yo, it's mind blowing how, well, who told you this lie as I am like this? I am this person. I am like God is like that. And I think sometimes we create a false sense of, who God is, based off of our own success. And then we were also reading, in Proverbs chapter 30, where it says, God, don't make me too rich, but don't make me too poor. Because if I'm too rich, then I may forget about you.
Yep. And it happens, man.
And it happens, right? Happens. Come on.
And you know what's so wild? I appreciate that scripture that you mentioned. I'm learning a lot. I'm actually studying and getting like some mentorship in that space just to understand things more, man. Like when you're younger and you try to read the Bible, you're like, this is overwhelming. Oh my goodness. Now we have these versions and we have these audiobooks and we have people like you, people like KB, people that are awesome. Bryce, shout out to Bryce, that's doing an amazing thing. The Christian DJ, like we have people that are actually giving scripture and making it understandable and relatable to people and breaking things down. Man, like I would say, I used to, even just being on the road with artists, I won't mention any names because it's unnecessary, but being on the road with artists and being 21, 20 years old, 22, dancing for them or doing a job with them, man, I used to have this judgment of human beings. And man, like you think it's all on you, and what about everybody around you? And man, you should be more grateful to God and blah, blah, blah. But when you become the talent, when you become the force, when you become the person that is creating payroll for all of these people, when you get the fame and when people are screaming your name, asking for autographs, worshiping you, we as human beings are not meant to be worshiped like that. You do not know how it affects you until it happens to you. And I thought that I would be successful when I started, in LA and I started creating things, but I didn't think it would be to the point where people were crying, asking for autographs, running up to me. Like I didn't think it would become what it was. And sometimes you don't even understand what's happening while you're in it. And like, it affects you, man. You think you can handle it. You think, oh man, I got this. You think all of these things and you're like, oh man, I won't ever be like this artist. I won't ever. And then you look back years later and you're like, oh man, dang, I didn't think that would happen to me. Or I didn't think I would fall into the same things as this person. And it changes, man. I say with maturity, with age, with growth, with reflection, with self-accountability, all of those things, man. Like I fell into that, like, dang, I'm killing it. Well, it's because I work so hard. It's because I'm spending every hour in the dance studio. It's because I gave these opportunities. No, I didn't give opportunities. God used me as a vessel to bless other people.
Come on.
I was a vessel. You know what I mean? I didn't create this job at the BET Awards. I didn't create this job on MTV. God used me. You know what I mean? He used me. He used gifts that he gave me. But it's just like, you learn, man. You learn. And now I feel like one of my missions is to give that game to other people that are in the same position that I could see, man. It's like,
wow. You know what's so dope, bro, is the reflection, right? When we reflect back and we reminisce back to where we were at then to where we are now, right? it's amazing to see the two different people that we're seeing and everything right now, right? But I want to take it here, right?
Yeah.
So you got the fame, the cars, like, because you were literally like every week, every couple days, like we're seeing, like, dude, my feed was like, yo, fam, it was crazy, right? And what happened where it was like, okay, like it was like a rock bottom moment, right? You know?
Yeah, man. I think through life change, through a lot of trauma that I experienced and had, divorce, all of it at once at the same time as COVID. So it's like not teaching, not dancing, losing a very important relationship to me, my whole world changing at the same time. And it was just like pruning relationships, friendships, business, all of it, essentially being stripped of me at the same time, man. That rock bottom, it was one of those moments that sounds so cliche. It's like all you have is God, all you can depend on is God. And that's what I had. But then in that, through so much pain, through I just saw Lauren London say something about this, like regarding like when she lost Nip, like couldn't even take a shower, all these things, like going through these mental things where you're like, man, is this is life? This is this pain. Like, do I really want to like go on through this and this rock bottom? And the thing that people don't realize too, man, in high school, we used to get upset or it'd affect us if people were talking about us, or if we got in a fight, or if somebody broke up with us, or if we had a pimple. Oh man, that's high school. That's your town. That weight that we felt like it was the end of the world. When it's the internet, people you know, people you don't know, people in other countries that are dissecting you as a person, your relationship, what happened to you, all of these things. People don't know the weight, man. And that's what I tell you, how strong not I am as a person. I'm not strong. I wanted to throw in the towel. I have thrown the towel. God threw the towel back. He threw the towel back again and again and again. And he brought people in my life. He brought people in my life, man, every moment when I felt like I do not want to continue on. He brought people in my life to speak life into me, to show me that he was real. And man, it's indescribable, man. It's indescribable, like what he can do in those moments, man, when you feel alone, when you feel forgotten about, when you feel like misunderstood, all of those things, man. I say like, yeah, man, all of it happening at once in 2020, but the things that I've gotten are things that are not replaceable. You know, I had this much money. I had all this money, supposedly, according to people in the dance world, right? This fame, this success, not in the regular world, but in the dance world, right? All these things that people see me having, but the character that gets built, the person that he makes me, the discernment that I have, the reconnection with my family, like. You look at how fast you were going when you're in LA, and a lot of people that aren't from LA or New York or Atlanta, because those are like the 3 top places in America to live for dance. When you're in it and auditioning and going and going and going and going, you're like, life is just moving. Next audition, next carnival showcase, next this and that. But when you go home and see your nieces and nephews or your grandma or your parents, are like, dang, they're getting older. Dang, life is changing. You realize how much life you've missed. I missed a lot of life, bro. I missed a lot of life being in LA for that long. And I didn't have a good relationship with my family because it was always about the business, and I got to make this much money, and I got to do this so I can retire one day, so I can take care of my family. But all of my relationships suffered because of that, you know. And my foundation and my foundation and a real relationship with Christ extremely suffered. I was so lost, man. Like so lost that you think you got it all together, bro. And it's like you when you get taken out of it, then you can see, oh my goodness. But when you're in it, nah. And that's why I have a heart for people. I don't make excuses for people when we fall short of things that we can be better at. But I have a different understanding of R&B artists or pop artists or actors or people that we think is, oh man, they're wilding on social media. Oh, why are they reacting like this? Why are they putting their business out? Until it's you. Because I can I will never understand what it's like to be a mother. I will never be a mother. I don't understand what it's like to be a woman. I don't understand what it's like to be this or that. Just like people can understand what it's like to be this person of influence,
right,
or in this position, or told, man, you should have done this, you should have done that. Sounds good. You're right. Probably right about some stuff. Sounds good. But until you walk a mile in those shoes, you don't know.
You don't know. And you know what's wild, bro? I was having a conversation with my wife a few months ago. And this is the part of the show where I get a little vulnerable, right? Yeah. And I get a little vulnerable for the sake of helping somebody else.
Yeah.
And I want you guys to really, really, really get what Will is saying and what I'm about to say right here. And bro, I said to my wife, I said, there is a weight that I'm carrying that you have no idea on how much it really weighs as a man, as a leader and a husband of this household, as a man of God. Like there is a weight that I'm carrying that my wife will I won't ever know. Like you said, I won't ever know what it feels like to give birth. I don't know what it feels like to be a wife. But this right here on what I'm battling, on what I'm going through, there's just something that you just don't understand. But here's what I need. Now, this is key. When we are in a vulnerable position, and when we are in a position of, the weight is too heavy
to carry.
This is to carry. We have to, as men, bro, as men, we have to have enough to sit there and say, I need you to hold this for a second. This specific thing, I need you to hold it because I need to release my shoulders right now because the weight is just too much.
Absolutely.
Let's walk a mile together.
Yeah.
Let me get my breath back.
Yeah.
And by that time, I should be ready to take on that weight again and keep going because you wasn't meant to carry it at all, right? But iron sharpened iron, like you mentioned before, right? And we are called to carry one another's burdens.
Absolutely.
Right? However, we're not called to hold on to one another's burdens. And I think that's the real difference. Where
that's a gym. That's the gym.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a gym.
We're called
that's a t-shirt. That's a t-shirt. That's a gym. That's a title of a book. That's a gym.
Right there.
I don't know where we're at in the recording. Right. What you just said.
We're gonna put it in the comments, y'all. Put it in the comments. Listen, you're not called. You're called to carry one another's burdens, but you're not called to hold on to one another's burdens. Wow. Right? In other words, we're doing this thing together, this thing called life together, and we're walking in the journey. But if something gets a little bit too heavy for me because my flesh may be weak, right? I'm a human. My flesh may be weak. And I need to toss this over to you. Can you handle that for me just for a little bit? And then we get a half mile up.
Pride.
Right?
Ego. That's where I was at personally. I should have been able to talk to people about things in my life. I should have been able. I wish I would have been, but it takes maturity and growth and that pride, that ego. Like, I'm not good. I'm not good. I'm not good right now. Like saying that out loud, out loud. I'm not good. And even the influence, what you have with your platform, who you are, you saying that helps so many people. I was talking to somebody 2 days ago about someone that had major influence, and they were all over the place, all over TV, all over movies, everything. And they felt like that, but they could feel like they couldn't tell anybody that. Just that. As a human being, forget a man, woman, anything, just that as a human being, that would have probably had more impact than any of the TVs, movies, any of that stuff. Just like this person I look up to, they've attained all this and they're saying they're not good. They're saying it's okay to say you need guidance, you need structure, you need help, you need God, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it always happens after the fall. Like I've been
after the fall, right?
I've fallen, right? I've fallen.
Yeah.
A lot of people wanted to see me here down. A lot of people want to see me down bad. A lot of people want to see me not where I was anymore. A lot of people want me to just be who I used to be. And that's a hard thing to do. You know, they want me to just turn back on. But it always happens.
It don't work like that.
It doesn't work like that. I'm a human being, bro.
I'm gonna tell you why, bro. Let me say this. I'm gonna tell you why. Here's just so crazy, right? I'm gonna tell you why. Because people have an image of you that they never want to forget about.
That part.
Right? They never want to forget about, because the thing is that Will 10 years ago was 10 years ago. The thing is that we change every decade. Man. Like we're different people now.
Man.
And you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. But I never saw this change in me happen the way that it has. And man, how could I say this? Make sure you can hear me. Make sure my audio is good. To frame that, like my biological mom, my mom in Lynn, Virginia, and my stepfather, they're very spiritual. And, you know, they gave me some gems, some notes when I first started going through a lot of things a few years ago. And, you know, they let me know, they were like, man, a lot of people that come to Christ, like fully come to Christ, it comes from something in their life happening, or loss, or anything like majorly. And if I hadn't gone through the things that I have, and there's this amazing woman named Carolina who is my sister in Christ. She's like, you know what? Even if anything has ever happened to you negative, or people that you have feelings towards that aren't the most positive, you should thank them, because this is making you who you are meant to be, who you were called to be. Ooh. And without it would have never happened. And that's a hard thing to do. That is a hard thing to do. So but and she told me that 3 years ago. Amazing couple, Carolina, Malachi, this guy named Tay, Ryan, this guy named Nick, that like loved me fully throughout my storms, bro, like storms, and showed me the love of Christ, held me accountable, all these things, but also like loved me and gave me these messages that are starting to click now a few years later. But at first I was like, no, not gonna be able to do it. And now I'm like, wow, you're right.
You know what?
Yeah, man.
Right. Because let me tell you something, bro. Because now you open the door, right? Let me say this. I, as someone in the dance industry as well, right? Of course you hear whispers and stuff, right? You hear,
of course.
And for a few years, I always wanted to reach out.
Yeah.
But it was like there was a block, like I was like, not yet. Yeah. Not yet. Because he may not, you may not have been in the space. Right. 100%. And then when you're in it, you can't tell the wheat from the tares. Facts. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell the wheat from you don't know who's genuine, and you don't know who's trying to take advantage.
And that was a major thing. That was a major thing for me, man. I mean, so many, to be real, a lot of people like, hey, Will, hop on this, let's chop it up. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? There has to be a process of not even just like self-reflection, but you have to process everything that's going on.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah.
Moving, relationships changing, business changing, dealing with this and that and this and that. I needed to just like be able to sit, and I'm still, bro, like this is something that I will say, this isn't easier now. Or there were some people that were like, oh man, you don't hide behind God. This walk is harder, because now I feel things like when you really have real relationship, this is actually harder. It'd be easier for me to while out, be like forget it. Like I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna do whatever I want. This is harder, because you hear God. I actually hear God's voice now. I actually have discernment with certain things. I can hear the Holy Spirit now in a different way that I never could before. And it's still not that, like, I don't feel like I do how some people in my life do, but it's changed a lot for me. And that's also opened me up to not walk in fear and pray about these conversations. Pray about,
Yep.
being on your platform. Pray about content that I put out. There was a time where I
Right.
was like, man, I'm not even going to post a dance video. I'm not even going to work with this person or that person.
Right.
Why? Like, no, people like I need to be away from people right now. And I had to pray over that, man. And it's been hard. And I've had to pray in my sessions, and I've had to have open and real conversations with people that come into my space, because by the grace of God, there are people that still want to learn from me. There's still people that believe in me. There's still people that have a different eye, and that are just have a different eye. And like I pray, and I'm praying before those sessions. I'm talking to people about real life. It's not just, it never has just been dance, but even more so now, like it's a God thing, man. It's a spirit thing. And if I am called into those spaces, it will be with the right people. I believe in that. It will be in the right situations. And also if I do not use what I've been through, the ups, the downs, the hurdles, the challenges, if I don't use it, I'm not even gonna say if I don't use it. I know that he wants me to use my story and what I've been through to help other people. And that's it.
You have to.
That's it.
You have to. You know what's so key? You said people would say don't hide behind God. I would say the opposite, because the Bible says that if God before me, then who could be against me? In order for somebody to be before you, then you have to be behind them, right? You just have to, right? If God before me, then who can be against me? Which means that if I don't hide behind God, then that's me indicating that I know where I'm going when I don't.
Right. On my own. On
my own. And I know the way and I don't. Right. So when we break that down,
God knows we don't.
Yeah, I mean, like we can't, we have to hide. He's our covering at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Because our flesh is going to sit there and say, yo, I want this. I need this. I got to have this. But 100%. You have to have so much discipline and let your spirit take over the flesh. Right. So go ahead and move forward and say, hey, yo, this is what we're doing.
This is not the best idea. Yeah, man.
This is what we do. Sometimes, well, you know the term, right? On second thought.
On second thought. Hindsight is 20/20. All of those things. And I'll say this, man. This is like something I've wanted to say.
Yes.
And I want to say it in the right way. Like, you have an amazing personality. You are outgoing. You people are drawn to your energy. Sometimes, like, we as leaders, as business owners, as anything, can feel like, I've always had this light. You misunderstand that, because I've heard a lot of people say, like, oh, your power and your status and all these things. When you're in your own head and feel yourself a little bit, and it gets a little confusing to you, or you might start thinking, oh man, well, it's because of me. I'm cool. I'm this person. People love me. You're not realizing you're becoming this. Now you have access to this money. Now you are giving out these jobs. Now you are seen as this figure. And meshing the two, I think, like we said, iron sharpens iron. Relationships, therapy, having people check you, friends that will check you and be like, hey, bro, you need to slow down. Or, hey, sis, you're dope. I love you. You're amazing. But don't forget how you got here. Don't forget that this can be taken. You need that around you. And people that, and more importantly, people that need nothing from you, that are around you. That want nothing from you.
Don't want nothing from you. They just want to listen. I tell my community this all the time, bro. I just want to see y'all win. That's it.
That's it.
Do I have online courses? Yes, you could take them if you want. Right? Do I have events and everything? Yes, you could come if you want. But it's not mandatory, and that's not going to stop me from giving you, the most powerful game that God has given me to give to you. Right? Because at the end of the day, all I want to do is see you win. Man, right? You mentioned something earlier, right? You said you wish you had someone to pour into you at the time, because pastors need pastors, leaders need leaders, right? And I give this analogy, a lot, especially if I'm doing like the Unshakable method training for personal development. I tell people this. I want people to start envisioning themselves as like the top glass on a chandelier,
Okay.
right? You ever
Yeah.
been to those events and weddings where there may be a champagne glass and then there's the
Yeah,
champagne is pouring out into the next cup, into the next cup, and the next cup?
for sure.
I tell people, I want you guys to envision yourself as that top glass, but what's being poured into it is coming from your creator. You know what I'm saying? What's being poured into, because the thing is that we're moving so much.
Yeah.
We're not pouring into other people. However, if we stay still,
That's
right,
wild.
and
Yeah.
allow him to pour into us,
That's
watch
good.
how he'll use that to pour into the next. And what we're doing, we're not causing division. We're talking about multiplication. Because
That's
every level there's more and more and more and more, bro. And it's
wow.
like, if we can just think like man,
That's
be still. Come on.
that is that's a great example.
Yeah.
And when you're empty in that, when there's nothing poured in and you're just reaching because
Yeah.
I felt like I was at that level, I was at that top, but there's really no foundation. There's nothing.
No foundation.
This is like
Yeah.
empty. It's a job.
Yeah.
It's money. It's YouTube views. It's
Yeah.
likeness. It's
Yeah.
a new event.
Yeah.
But it's not. And you can go reverse Jenga, no foundation, you're gonna fall,
You gonna
know?
fall.
And then we see it over and over and over again. And what you're saying is so real because now, like, I feel like the people that I do work with or do creator sessions with, or even just
Yeah.
speaking engagements, my
Yeah.
source now that I speak from is completely different. I don't even have to think about what I'm going to say. I don't have to write anything down.
Come on.
It's real. It's rooted. It's rooted.
Yeah.
So it's a different experience. And yeah, man, like I think people that have been around me lately have seen that.
Yeah.
Myself, like you, in the
Yeah.
most humble way possible. There's always been a light, and people have
Yeah.
always been drawn to that light for motivation,
Yeah.
which is amazing. But
Yeah.
when it's spirit filled, man, it does something else. It changes you, and
Yeah.
man, I just want to say to you, like, you're helping a lot of people. I did my research on you. I watch, I pay attention, especially before I come on and do anything with anybody. And yeah, man, you're really, I feel like you're chosen to do this. So I just
Thank you,
much
bro.
love and gratitude for what you're
Yeah.
doing and to other people.
Absolutely, man. Thank you, bro. You know, I didn't really I didn't see it this way, if I'm being honest.
Mm,
You know, because like yourself, I was full steam ahead,
mhm.
wanting to create, get the dance studio going,
Yeah,
get everything rocking,
yeah.
and that was my dream, right?
Mhm,
And
mhm.
you know, thank God for my wife now, because
Yeah.
my wife before, like I had a divorce. I got divorced when I was 24,
Okay, I
in
didn't know
my
that.
previous
Yeah.
marriage.
Okay.
Yeah, so so there's a correlation here, so I can empathize with what
Different,
you
bro.
going through.
It's different,
But
man.
the thing was that I messed up a lot
Yeah,
in that relationship.
yeah.
However, there was some things that you just don't forget, and it's just like, man, if I would have had the support,
Mhm,
at that time, what would life be like, right? You think about
mhm,
those things. I remember
mhm.
my ex-wife saying this one thing. She said, "Give it up, you're never going to make it. Get a real job, you're never going to make it. You're whack, you're corny." And I'm like, wow, that
Wow,
hit. And it's just like, I
wow.
thought you were supposed to be my wife, and not to play
Mhm,
victim here,
mhm,
you know what I'm
mhm,
saying?
mhm.
Because there were some irresponsible things that I was doing, but it was
Life, bro.
all, dude, I'm like, I'm
Life.
just trying. I'm
Yeah,
trying,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
But fast forward to my beautiful family that I have now, my wife
Mhm,
that I have now, and it's just like,
mhm.
man, what if I would have waited for her the
Hmm,
whole time?
mm. That's
What if I
good.
would have waited
See,
for
that's
the
man.
woman, right? What if I
But
would have
can I say
waited?
this? Can I say this?
Go
Can
ahead.
I say this? I feel like you might not. No, I know you wouldn't. I'm not gonna say might. I'm gonna speak.
Yeah, yeah,
You would not have gone through those things, become who you were supposed to for her and for your future
right.
family. because there's lessons, you know, and everybody, and that's painful, bro. It's painful sometimes to be like, oh man, especially if you weren't remarried, if you didn't have kids and all these things. It's like,
Yeah.
oh man, I could have changed this, I could have done this or that. But like that growth doesn't happen without that. And unfortunately, like you guys are meant, you were designed. If we really believe, just like if we really believe, which is hard to do, this on earth is not the end. This is not the end. Like if I really believe, I have to believe that, and I have to live according to that, or at least try to now. Like, bro, like that season was needed for this. You might not be speaking the way, you might not have this show, like all of those things, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I look at that and I go back and I say, wow, what a journey it has been up to this point so far. And you're right. If I didn't go through those things, would I be here? Would I be speaking? Would I have these stories to tell? Because maybe, just maybe, those experiences that I had was brought to my life because God said, I know that you can endure this. I trust you to endure this enough that when you get out, that you're going to speak in such a way to give it to the people that need to hear this in this way. Because it was just like, I accept that, but I didn't accept it. I didn't accept it, bro, until my son was fighting cancer. And
brother,
you know what I mean? Like, brother, that's when it really hit.
Yeah. I cannot imagine the things that you've gone through, some of the stuff that you shared with me off camera, and like things that I've learned today too. Don't you feel like, this is a question, do you feel like, because this is something a mentor of mine mentioned, you know, God can only give you so much until he can trust you with it. And sometimes he'll reshape you and you'll lose things, and he'll allow things in your life. And before he can give you these things, you know, he needs to know, you know, your character, with just who you've become in him, your faith, all of those things. And we still mess up, you know what I mean? Like we're still human. We're still, you know what I mean? Have our fall short, but like, don't you feel like now, even like the strength that he built in you for you to handle something like your son having cancer, do you feel like some of the things that you've gone through your life were to shape you for those moments, even when you talked about the weight, you know what I mean?
I do. It's like, okay, let me put it to you like this. Before my son had cancer, my mom had cancer. And my mom is like, you know, like I'm a mama's boy, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's my mother. And at this, so here, let me just paint the picture for you to answer your question. I'm going through a divorce. My mom has cancer at the same time I'm going through the divorce. Right. After that, my mom defeats cancer, right? Cancer free, praise God.
Yeah, thank God.
But then my parents divorce. Right. So I'm going through a divorce. My mom has cancer, and then my parents divorce. Right. After that, then this is the whole season, right? I'm running a dance company. I have my own place. I'm living in my place. And then 2008 happens. And then on the back end of the 2008 crash, I get hit in 2013, where I had to leave my house because there was no money in dance in my area. Like everything was just falling, right? Boom. So I had to make a decision whether I was going to go home and live back home with my mom at 29 years old. Okay.
Yep.
And make a decision what I was going to do. And I fought with pride and ego inside that. But I had enough sense to sit there, and God gave me enough sense to push me out and strip everything away and say, go home. 2 weeks later, after I moved out of the apartment, that apartment that I was in, that I wasn't going to leave, burned down.
Come on, man. Come on, somebody. Come on, bro. No way.
Come on, bro. Like, fam.
Really?
The joint burns. Yeah, dude, I'm living in a condo, in a complex, and my home that I'm in was the only one. I'm on the, my boy called me on the news and was like, yo, are you good? I said, yeah, I'm good. He said, yo, like, you know, I was just making sure because your house is on fire. I said, bro, I'm in my house right now. What you talking about? I moved. He said, yo, fam, turn on the news. I turned on the news, and on the sky cam is my house that I was living in.
That's crazy.
At that moment, that's when I dropped to my knees.
That's crazy.
That's when I was like, okay,
I'm done.
And then it's shit. And then I started to now God was like, now I got you open. Now I can start pouring in, because what's coming down the pike, I need you ready for, with your son, with your wife, with your studio, with all these different things. You have to be prepared for it, bro. So yes, to answer your question, it prepared me, because when I got in there with my son, I wasn't worried. I wasn't fearful. I had the utmost confidence. I say, when we change the mind, we change the game all the time. Like when I got in there, it was like, look, let's go. Like doctors, like, let's get on the same page and let's rock out. And for that, my son beat cancer in half the time expected.
That's correct. Wow. Look at him, bro. Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing, man.
Yeah. You know, so my encouragement to you,
stories, bro, man, like,
I got a lot, bro. It's a lot. That's just a summary, but like, my encouragement to you in this season, right? Is stay open, right? Stay open, bro. Because the thing is that when the Bible says that that he will, write down the vision, make it plain, and he'll make room for you, right? In order for him to make room, okay, in order for him to do that, then we got to clean some things out.
Yep, that's facts.
Right?
I needed that, man.
There's something that I clean up. And here's let me give you this, because I feel it right now, bro. Let me just give you this, because listen, it's like for somebody out there that's listening, I need y'all to hear this. There are things in your past that are growing in your mind, in your heart, in your body, like mold in the refrigerator. And if you don't clean out the mold in the refrigerator, when you try to put anything in fresh, it will not taste the same, smell the same. Like it won't be what it's supposed to be, because you didn't clean out the mold that's still stuck in the refrigerator, because we're either being too lazy, or we just don't feel like cleaning up that stuff, and we live on that nasty mold that's in the fridge, bro. So the real thing is that you have the choice to clean the mold or not, right? You got the choice to filter your emotions in the right place or not. So now we're at a point where God is saying, hey, listen, I got fresh food for you.
Yeah.
But I'm not putting that in that fridge until you clean that refrigerator out and clean out that mold. Come on, bro. Like,
you're speaking light to me, man. Like, without saying too much, that is something that I'm battling weekly, daily, in different ways, like in different ways. How I see the world, vision, my friendships, like everything, bro. You could say everything, career stuff, like relationships, all of that, man. It's doing the work.
Can I tell you this? Tell you this? You went through a divorce. I went through a divorce.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you how I got over my divorce. I used what God gave me, and having that creative mind, that creative mentality.
Yeah.
And I reenacted the entire thing on camera.
Wow. Really?
Yeah. I made a short film of what happened. Like it was a short film series of what happened. And it's called The Chronicles of Alan. It's actually still up on YouTube. And
you gotta send me the link. I'll look it up.
I'm gonna send it to you, bro. I'm gonna send it to you. And listen, and I'm gonna tell people, look, y'all might see a dope camera and everything right now, but back then I ain't had no dope camera. I ain't have no I had no dope camera. I had no lights. I had nothing. All I had was the story. Matt in the back, like, yup.
Hey, like, bro. Some of my first videos that went viral were iPad, man. So it's all good.
So I said, I'm going to reenact, and I got people on. I ain't even had no script. Everything was in my mind, and I gave people the free will. This is the storyline. Yep. Let's act.
Wow.
This is what was said, and here are some key points. And then let's go. And then I got my friends involved, and they helped me. Jeez. And that was my therapy, because I had no money for therapy, bro. I didn't have people that went through that. You know what I'm saying? And
that's major, bro. First off, I want to see number one. Number two, I feel like that's a sense of I just did something last night with my last week with my past, with one of my good friends, Terry. We just did this kind of some let goes and stuff like that of the past, like different things creatively, because in our space, in our mind as creatives, we need to We got to get that stuff out somehow, you know?
We have to. Yeah.
Yeah. I did a series called Boj. It stands for Book of Job. A lot of people were wanting that online.
Ooh.
I started it probably a year after I started going through a lot. And it's only been 2 series right now. And some of my artists that I found, Lecrae, Set Me Free, a few other tracks, Restoration, Restored, with him and Wande and Hovey. And I'm going to continue doing it and build, because that was like something that I really, really needed to do, man. And you know what's funny? I used to only say this, and now it's double. But I used to be like, even when I would speak at any convention I was on or anything, I'd be like, man, dance was always there for me. Dance. I would always say that. And now still it is, but you have the other. I actually have foundation, and then dance is used. Yes, he gave me this gift, and it's something special and amazing. It's something I use to release. But those two together, man, like the way I feel watching Caro elevated, put on stuff, but you know what I mean? Working with, Mike Todd's church or Amazing Guy, Hustle, Pray, Eat in Grand Rapids, or seeing, people use their art for God's glory, man. It's so crazy. I used to feel like, even recently, this is something that I've been having to figure out in my own space. Just put out a Lil Wayne set, which is not obviously Christian, and I'm walking. It can be confusing to some people, but I feel like too, not only through art, but how can we reach people outside of the church if we're only working in the church? And obviously music has, some fine lines, but it's like, we got to go to different places. We got to connect. We have to go to some places that people that aren't believers are in, you know what I mean? For me, saying that to say this, I used to feel so strong, like, oh man, I did Beyonce series, or I did Lil Wayne series, or I did blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, this is the most I'm going to feel on stage, dancing with Usher at iHeartRadio. But bro, in that season, dancing alone, and this is when Maverick City was like first coming up, or Jonathan McReynolds, or Tori Kelly's, or Madison Ryan Ward's, all these people that I love. It is so different. I don't know about for you as a creative, but Christian worship music that you actually feel and connect to, and their testimonies are connected to your story or divine. There's nothing like it
nothing like it, bro. Nothing like it.
And now I see like how I used to look at Christian music, like I'd be like, oh cool, Lecrae, maybe I'll listen to a song, or oh, Coming In Hot is dope.
Right.
When your life is aligned and changed, and it is insane, bro, what you feel. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. One of my favorite songs to listen to right now is Easy by KB. And
the boy.
Dog, the first of all, the vulnerability. Like, I think people think because he's a Christian rapper, Christian artist and stuff, that and how he's rapping is incredible. The cadence, everything, like the rhymes, is super dope. Like, but when you start to really peel back you listen to what he's saying and where he was at, the level of vulnerability in the passion that he is presenting in that record is like, dude, like, do you hear what my man is saying? And he's saying where he was at versus to where he's at now.
Because that's the thing that I love about him and Crae's reflection, Lecrae's reflection too, their reflection and their truth in that, bro. A lot of people are afraid to do that, especially in that world. You don't want to be, but that is where I feel like that's where the connection comes to from us. My favorite line in Easy, all these knives in my back, I probably built a set with it. Like, when no one respected it, like it's not only the truth, but it's like, it makes you feel like, oh my gosh, somebody else is like me, like me, man. And as a builder, as a creative, all these things, it's like, bro. You know what I mean? I still have love for you now. I still have grace for people. I still have all these things, but I went through this. This is where I'm at. And like, man, that's war cry. Like 116 all like, man, like, it's so cool and so powerful to see that coming to the masses. And you know what's really dope to me is like I could be playing that record, and this has happened. I've played that record in places that are not Christian spaces, and I've been able to introduce people that would never listen to that. That's why I love DJing now. They're like, wait, what is that? Oh, this is actually Christian music. What? And then I get a text or a DM from them like, yo, I just went down the rabbit hole. Bro, this is crazy. Now I know. Now I know Tadashe and Tripoli, and I'm like, yeah, man.
Yeah, bro. It's so good how we as creatives have been able to go through these seasons of hardship, of failure, thinking that, like being on stage with with these artists is the end all be all, but then we hit that downfall, but then we still are able to use what God has given us, but for his glory at the end of the day. Like now that you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like, wow, like it's not that I don't stop dancing, right? I don't stop dancing, I don't stop speaking. I'm using it, you know, for him. And at the end of the day, as long as we are able to be a vessel, and someone's life is changed, someone's life is elevated to where they go out and seek for themselves. That's my prayer. I want you to go out and see. I want you to I tell people this all the time. I'm not trying to force my faith on you.
Facts.
Right? Facts. I'm not trying to do that. However, when you ask me the question of how I got here, I have to tell you the truth. Right? I have to tell you the truth on how I got here. So therefore, you can take what I say, and then you can do what it is that you will with what I said. Because I don't want to be the one to fabricate, you know, how I got here. I got here because Jesus saved me. I got here because that's the truth. If I did not cry out to Jesus Christ, if I did not cry out to the Most High, then guess what? I would not be here. And that's just a fact.
That's same.
You know what I'm saying? Same. That's just a fact. I know what he saved me from. And I believe that there's going to be more work to do even after I pass away from this earth.
100%. And you know it, you can feel it. It's different, and you're confident in that. And and same. It's like mission. And he chooses his people, and sometimes it's by destruction, sometimes it's by chaos, sometimes it's by loss, sometimes it's by all this stuff. Because I could say that he's used me even more now to show people my faith now, some changes, and this is it's not easy, man. So I just want to say like love to you and kudos, because it's not easy. It's not, bro. It is not, but you're chosen, man. And I have much gratitude and love to you for walking in it, because it's not for everybody.
To you, brother. Yes, it's not. Yeah, absolutely, bro. I appreciate that. Listen, man, we're cutting it down on time here. Like, we definitely got to bring you back on, but I wanted to give you an opportunity to go ahead and let the people know, where can they find you at? What are the projects that you got coming up that they could possibly get involved in?
Love, man. Yeah, man. So right now, man, I am so grateful and thankful to really just be like focusing on creating as a DJ, helping other people build their brands still. So you guys can check that out at jwillmusic.com. That's JWILLMUZIK.com. Yeah, man, I've had a really good friend, one of my homies, Josh. He has this line, GPS, Christian clothing. Stands for God will find you anywhere. He has the best GPS. So that is at shopgps2.com. And yeah, man, that's like really right now I'm focused on creating with other artists that are believers, and I'm leaning on whatever God has for me, man. Usually I'd be like, this is coming out this day, or this is coming out this day. Right now, I just hope that you guys can, if one person's inspired by my walk or faith or anything that I am able to share or post, that's like that's love for me and blessings right now, man. And I really just want to shed light on other people that are doing the same thing, because people are hurting. People need people. We do need community, and I can see it from my friends. You know what I mean? Just from my friends, whether that's a single mom that's older, or people that I know that are in the industry still on tours right now. The people that I speak to, all going through it, bro. And that's from a millionaire to somebody that you know is struggling. And you know, so like a lot of people in the same space. So man, I just want to share, if you can, be kind. And yeah, man, love and light to you
Yeah,
guys.
absolutely.
Love and light.
Yeah. Let me say this to end it off. Listen, everybody, here's the thing, right? I do courses on personal development for that very reason. And it doesn't matter if you're making 100 million, doesn't matter if you're making 40,000. It doesn't matter. The fact is that 96% of people that do anything in regards to personal development or trying to get better end up failing. Why do they fail? Because they are trying to do it by themselves. They're trying to do it on their own. We get so caught up on the hype machine. You go to the seminar, you go to the conference, you go to the convention, whatever it is, and you're so excited, and because you're around like-minded people for those couple of days. But what ends up happening is that once you leave that environment and you don't take that environment with you, right? So what do the other 4% of people do? What do the top 4% people do? What they do is that they have community, they have environment, they create that community, create that environment so that they're able to get to that next level. They understand this. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, let's go together. It's just that simple, right? Yep. So for anybody that is looking to go ahead and tap in with us, yo. Tap into Will's community, tap into our community here. Let's continue to grow together. Listen, I can't take on everyone. So that's why I bring other people on to share their community, because guess what? That may be something that you're attracted to, so that you can go ahead and jump in. Either way, you got to jump into something that is going to be edifying and fruitful. And trust me, I'm going to always bring on people that I know that are going to bring you the goods. All right. So with that being said, listen, Will, where can they find you at on Instagram?
Love, still Willdabeast, WILLDABEAST, 2 underscores, and then also DJ Just Will, man. Yes, sir.
Boom. Yes, sir. Love. Yes, sir. Listen up, everybody. Yes, I appreciate you, fam. I love you, bro. I appreciate you, man. For real, for real.
Thank you.
Listen, fit people, check it out. Listen, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. All that good stuff is going down. So please, please, please make sure you do this. Share this with your mama, your daddy, your uncle, your auntie, your grandma, your grandpa, abuela, abuelo. Share with anybody and everybody that needs to hear this message right here, right now. We're definitely going to bring my man Will on. Maybe next time we can actually have him in studio and in person. I think that'd be super love. All right. So we're going to work on that for you guys. But other than that, continue to comment, continue to like, continue to subscribe. And remember, when we change the mind, we change the game. Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow will worry about itself. And today is all we have. And if today is all we have, you make sure you go ahead and impact today the best way you know how. Kenneth Allen Thomas, Unshakeable Nation, the Unshakeable Podcast with Unshakeable Conversations. I'll talk to y'all later. One love. Peace.